Hey fellas, so it's around 5 o'clock on Friday. I want to get going. Jeez. Sleep was interesting. Oh yeah. Um, had weird dreams. I can't even really recall them. I just vaguely recall that were weird. I want to say that they involved magic cards and My Little Pony. I'm not going to pretend to understand it myself. Speaking of which, a lot of people on the Wizards message board buy into the whole My Little Pony crap, and they have My Little Pony avatars, blah 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 blah. And you know what? I've watched the series, and it's not bad. It's really not bad. But I can't. I mean, who? I cannot understand the cult-like mentality behind some of the people that like idolize the show. It's like, really, guys? I mean, okay, it's children's programming, and heaven forbid children's programming aimed at little girls, of all things. But either way, it's children's programming that doesn't treat the children like complete and total idiots. Which is probably the only thing that makes it reasonably watchable by adults. That, and of course, it's really well liked by like geek guys and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's mostly because they look at all the female characters and say, "I want a girl just like her." And it's like, guy, she's got 4 legs. Try to date within your species. Call me crazy on that one. I don't know. So, and I say that, and suddenly I have an urge to like break out into the song "Say Say Say." It's by it's an old song by I don't remember who it was. It was Michael Jackson, and Paul McCartney. I was gonna say one of the guys who used to be in the Beatles. Bam, Paul McCartney. Oh, anyways, blue cards, because that's all I've really got time for today. Got Urza's blue cards from Planescape. Plane Shift. You know, there are too many gaming products out there with the word plane in the name. You know what? Screw it. That's what we got to do. We need to make a licensed board game for snakes on a plane. That's what we need. Oh, jeez. I'm not going to get into some of the early ideas I just had right now because, well, I try to keep these videos more or less PG. More or less. So anyways, Urza's Trickery, counter target spell if a kicker cost was paid for it. It's a single blue, useless outside of block, more or less. There were, of course, a couple of other blocks where kicker came back, but for the most part, it's not really a good card. Cool and block constructed, otherwise, nope. Sisei's Ingenuity, single blue, creature enchantment. Hits the board, draw a card. Enchanted creature has 2 colorless and a blue. Target creature becomes color of your choice. Okay, it gives a creature the ability to reassign other creatures' colors. More useful for the draw card effect, in my opinion. But mind you, the color shifting thing would sometimes be important because, once again, one of the themes of the block was color matters. Arctic Merfolk, it's a 1/1. It's got a kicker cost of return a creature you control to its owner's hand. If you pay the kicker cost, it comes into play with a 1/1 counter on it. Oh, +1/+1 counter. Okay, so theoretically, it can be a blue grizzly bear. It's alright. It's not great. It's, heaven's forbid, it's a fun way to, reuse creatures that comes into play abilities. Confound. Colorless blue instant. Counter target spell that targets one or more creatures. Draw a card. It's not bad. I mean, probably actually slightly better than Avoid Fate, which is a green card, which all well and good. Blah blah blah. Gainsay, colorless blue instant. Counter target blue spell. It's an interesting card. You don't see blue hosing itself that often, specifically hosing itself that often, but it happens. What I think is fun about it, though, is it's got this great flavor text from Bo LeVar, Planeswalker. He was having an argument with Urza, apparently, and says, "I'd be happy to stop contradicting you, Urza, just as soon as you start being right." Urza, well, amongst Planeswalkers, Urza has a bit of a reputation for being a pompous ass. And for not being good with morals. And I'll get to something more on that in a moment. Sleeping Potion, it's very similar to Ice Cage. When it comes into play, tap Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creatures untap during its controller's untap step. When Enchanted Creature becomes target of a spell or ability, sacrifice the Sleeping Potion. It's alright. Stormscape Familiar, he's a 1/1 flyer, reduces cost of black and white spells by colorless for you. It's alright. Escape routes. Wait a second here. Did I already pass it? Yeah, I did already pass it. Okay. So I'm going to go backtrack for a second to confound. Which is, the illustration has Tavish Zot inside of a Titan engine basically being electrocuted and whatnot. And Urza's going, "Did I know Zot would betray us?" Urza asked quizzically. I was counting on it. And that's a lovely example of how Urza is... Urza's a pretty blue character. He understands the concept of ethics, but not morals. Basically, well, he coming up with these bombs that he wanted to use to destroy Phyrexia that had to be strategically placed around Phyrexia. The problem you have with the bombs is that you had to extract the Planeswalker essence from a Planeswalker, killing them in the process, to power the bombs. And Baron, who looked over Urza's notes on this, is called the whole damn thing unethical and immoral and blah 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 blah. And so Urza's like, well, okay, how could I do this in a moral way? And he got into a huge argument with Baron, and apparently the idea is Urza, when he made the Titan engines to give to other Planeswalkers to aid in their battles with Phyrexia, he included a booby trap in Tavish Zot's because he was expecting Tavish Zot to turn on the rest of them. He was counting on it. It was the hugest part of his plan. Because what happened is when Tavish Zot went to turn on him, he activated the booby trap in Zod's Titan engine, which incapacitated him and sucked out his Planeswalker essence and charged the bombs. In which case, then they took the bombs out of Zod's Titan engine and blah 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 blah. But it's just like, wow, that's wow. You know, on one level we have to admire the cleverness of it. On another level, it's like, wait a second. So you put him in a position where you knew he'd betray you, just so you could kill him for betraying you, so that you could have these bombs to accomplish your mission. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Very, very questionable, but clever, I'll give it that. Escape routes! Back to cards themselves. 2 colors and a blue to enchantment. You pump 2 colors and a blue to return a white or black creature you control to its owner's hand. That was very useful and very abusable with anything when it comes into playability. Or even just to save some of your creatures. Planeswalker's Mischief. Hey look, there's Boldivar again. So it's another one of the Planeswalker enchantments. It's 2 colors and a blue, 3 colors and a blue to activate. Opponent reveals a card random from their hand. If it's an instant or sorcery card, remove it from the game. As long as it remains removed from the game, you may play it as though it were in your hand without paying its casting cost. If it has an X in its cost, X is 0. At end of turn, if you haven't played it, return it to its owner's hand. Play this ability as a sorcery. That's pretty saucy. That's pretty saucy. Rushing River, 2 colors and a blue. Return target non-land permanent to owner's hand. If you paid the kicker cost of sacrifice a land, return another one. So that's okay. I mean, it's one of those cards where, once again, I don't recall ever seeing the kicker cost paid, but it's not a bad effect. That's only slightly overcosted in my opinion. So much so that it really wouldn't matter. Shifting Sky enchantment. When it comes to play, choose a color. All non-land permanents are the chosen color. That's nice. That's nice. Especially in this block. There are all sorts of crazy play with colors shenanigans that you can do. I have to remember that card actually, because I've been kind of trying to think of a way to exploit an old card from Fallen Empires. That's a nasty color hoser. Anyway, Stormscape Battle Mage. I talked about the Battle Mages before. White kickers gain a life. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? Black kicker nukes a creature. I believe it's what? Target non-black artifact? No, just non-black. That's nice. That's nice. Shifting Sky. He's blue. Hold on. Shifting Sky. He's not blue anymore. He's white. Escape routes. He's back in my hand. I play him again. Nuke another creature. Anyways, enough of that. Draw News Pet. He's a 2/2 for a colorless and 2 blue. Kicker of 2 and a black, and discard a creature from your hand. If you paid the kicker cost, has flying and comes into play with X +1/+1 counters, where X is the discarded card's mana cost. Oh yeah, that's some interesting stuff. Easily see that in Blue-Black Reanimator. Easily. Allied strategies: 4 colors and a blue, sorcery, domain, draw cards. Draw cards equals the number of basic land types you control. Blah blah blah. So it can get you anywhere from 1 to 5 cards. Well, technically anywhere from 0 to 5 cards. Hunting Drake. 2/2 flyer for 5 mana. A little bit on the overcost side. It's kind of spiffy comes into playability. When it hits the board, you return target red or green creature to the top of owner's library. Sea Snid. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's a 3/3 for 5 mana. Tap, target land becomes the basic land type of your choice until end of turn. Once you hit that high in the mana curve, that's really kind of a moot ability. I don't know. Sunken Hope, it's enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player returns a creature he or she controls to their hand. Once again, does spiffy stuff. There's a hair in there. Probably one of mine. Jeez. Waterspout Elemental. He's 5 mana for a 3/4 with a kicker of blue. And he has flying. Okay, 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer. Right there you're looking at worse than Air Elemental. So you're thinking, that kicker better be good. And the perfect honest, I have not really read what this card does in a few years. So at this point, I'm thinking that kicker better be good. Let's read what the kicker does. When he hits the board, if you paid the kicker cost, return all other creatures to their owner's hands and skip your next turn. Returning other creatures to owner's hands, not bad. Skipping turn, bad. It's mixed. There are going to be times when you're going to want to play the kicker. There are going to be, because it'll still give you a tempo advantage There are times it won't. I'm thinking that it's best used in concert with something that somehow limits your opponent's ability to replay his creatures. Like, for example, if you've got an Arcane Laboratory on the board, which limits players to one spell per turn, you play that with the kicker. It's like, bounce all your creatures. I skip my next turn. Go. You untap, upkeep, draw a card. You can play one spell. You can recast one of your creatures. If it doesn't have haste, you're not attacking with it this turn. And then you get another turn after that. Gets 2 draw cards out of it. Can only cast 2 spells. I don't know. For a 2-card combo, you can get better. I don't know. Sitting there trying to think of a way to... Trying to think of a way to exploit it, and it's just like, really, the way they've got it all worded together? You can't really exploit it without losing the turn. But on the other hand, if you've got a deck that's designed to not need turns, and yes, it is possible to do that, you need like something along the lines of, I believe it's a Seedborn Muse, which causes all your lands to untap during each, I believe it's each untap, not regardless of whose it is. And then you need something that lets you draw cards. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can be done. You can theoretically make a deck that doesn't actually need its own turn. In theory. Oh well. Call this video got done. I got things to do to get ready so I can go hit the FLGS tonight. Draft. Skipped out on it last week. I don't know when I'm going to get this posted onto the Wizards message boards, but it's going up on YouTube. Probably not going to make it onto the Wizards boards till like 2 or 3 in the morning local time, I'm thinking. But that's okay. Be good, fellas. Stay safe.